My golden child sister steamrolled our siblings' graduation for her wedding. So, I'm dropping out to show her the world doesn't revolve around her. I, 23M, am one of 7 kids. There's Olivia, 31F, Ethan, 28M, Caleb, 25M, me, then Ashley, 21F, Chloe, 18F, and the surprise child, Zoe, 4. With that many siblings, it's easy to get lost in the crowd. Some of us have our positions, so to speak. Olivia is the oldest. Zoe's the baby. I have a kid. Yes, that's my descriptor. OP gave us a grandchild. And Ashley is the golden child. She was the last planned child, the one supposed to tie up our family. She was born premature, so I understand that my parents coddled her to an extent, but it's more than that now. Ashley's getting married and recently told us that she's brought the date forward due to a cancellation. No big deal. It just means they're getting married sooner. But the new date lands on the day of Chloe's high school graduation. Ashley was sympathetic, but said she's already committed to the date. They've printed the invitations. My parents normally go overboard for our high school graduations, but they said they just have to miss Chloe's. We were all sympathetic, thinking it wasn't intentional, or so I thought. But Chloe later told me and Caleb that she was there when Ashley got the call about the cancellation and told Ashley that she was graduating that day. But Ashley just laughed and accepted the date anyway. This, as much as I hate to admit it, sounds like a very Ashley thing to do. She booked her engagement party for the night of Chloe's 18th birthday. Luckily, she wasn't celebrating until the weekend. She announced her engagement at my oldest sister's wedding anniversary. Everything is about her. I confronted Ashley about this, and she said that Chloe's high school graduation didn't matter. She wanted to get married to the love of her life sooner, and our family had been to plenty of high school graduations at this point anyway. She said something like, "We still have Zoe, but here's what gets me the most. Chloe's been looking forward to this for so long. She's watched all of us graduate and have these huge celebrations thrown by our parents." I asked Chloe what she wanted, and she said she wanted to have her day. So, I told my family that Chloe and I won't be attending the wedding. Caleb has also dropped out. Everyone's angry. Ashley's furious, and I didn't make it better by telling her that I could watch our other siblings get married since it's all the same in her eyes. Mom is trying to convince me to come to the wedding because graduation isn't as important, but I feel like if I don't do this, then it sets a precedent in Chloe's life that she's always going to mean less than Ashley. I've had messages calling me a jerk, an idiot, etc. They're telling me to step up and be a good brother, but that's what I'm doing. My son is supposed to be the ring bearer, but with how my family is reacting, I'm considering pulling him out of the wedding too. My dad's told Chloe he'll take her to dinner after the wedding. Chloe is currently staying with me because Mom won't stop cornering her. Am I the jerk for skipping my sister's wedding? Update 11 days later. It's 2 days after D-Day, and I finally come bearing an update. I've had to condense it quite a bit because a lot has happened. Before I start, Chloe wanted me to thank everyone who congratulated her on her graduation. She was overwhelmed by the support you all gave her, especially after she faced such opposition from our family. So let's start. Last Friday, Caleb and I went to speak to our parents and Ashley. I wanted to tell them that I'd be pulling my son from the wedding. Our older siblings ended up turning up as well, so it was us 4 standing up for Chloe. Caleb had spoken to them the night before and helped them see things more clearly from Chloe's perspective. Apparently, it didn't sink in with them that Ashley chose the date intentionally. There was a lot of yelling. Ashley accused me of trying to sabotage her wedding, and our parents tried to convince me to let them take my son to the wedding, but I stood my ground. I felt a lot stronger with my older siblings with me. There's only 2 years between me and Ashley. After all, I'm not much of an older brother. Luckily, Olivia was there. Her words carry more weight as the eldest, and she didn't give Ashley or our parents room to argue as she told them that Ashley chose the date intentionally, admitted as much in front of me and Caleb, and that this was normal behavior for her. Olivia told them that if they continued to favor Ashley so blatantly, the rest of us would go no contact, and Zoe would likely follow in the future. Our dad started yelling. Not at us, but at Ashley, surprisingly. I've never seen him so angry before, and to see it directed at Ashley was shocking. Our mom asked us to leave. We didn't hear from anyone on that side until Monday when Ashley's fiancé, Dylan, asked to meet us at our parents'. He apologized to Chloe. He didn't know that the wedding and graduation overlapped, nor did he know that it was something Ashley did on purpose. Our dad was the one to tell him. What followed was a long talk between us during which we all aired our grievances. I told our parents that we all felt they valued Ashley more, that none of us mattered to them compared to her. Her artwork always went up on the fridge, ours always went in the drawer type thing. I told them that as a parent, I could never imagine treating my child like that. Ashley tried to argue. She tried to tell us that we were trying to turn her into a bad guy, trying to turn our parents against her, trying to sabotage her wedding. Our mom told her to be quiet, that it was our time to talk. Dylan stepped in to tell us that he didn't expect us to attend the wedding, but we were welcome to attend the reception. He went so far as to say that he wished he could have canceled the wedding altogether, but it only cost him more money than he'd spent by bringing it forward. Mom's willingness to hear us out lasted less than 24 hours. By Tuesday, she was begging us to reconsider. Apparently, our feelings meant nothing in the face of Ashley's dire stress and the fact that people would be questioning our absence on the big day. I haven't spoken to my mom since, but I did ask my dad to bring me some of Chloe's things because she is going to be staying with me full-time. We have officially gone no contact with our mother. Dad took Chloe out for an early graduation celebration on Wednesday. They had a daddy-daughter date that I think she really needed. He apologized for a lot of things and told her he wanted to do the same with the rest of us. But Wednesday was about her. I'm happy she got that one-on-one time with him. She was happy coming home to me. In our sibling group chat, she said that she really thinks Dad is going to try to mend bridges with us, even if Mom won't. Dad also turned up early yesterday morning, I'm talking 6:30 a.m., to give Chloe flowers. He told her that he was proud of her. Dylan even called while he was getting ready for his big day to congratulate Chloe, which I really appreciated. We didn't hear from Mom or Ashley. Our paternal grandma ended up coming to the graduation with us. It was a great day, like a really great day. We didn't think about the wedding, didn't think about Ashley. We just had fun together. My son got to wear his aunt's cap and gown and nearly drowned in the fabric. Our grandma tried on the cap, too. We took photos and sent them to our dad, who posted them in a Facebook post. He wrote to congratulate both Ashley on her wedding and Chloe on her graduation. And we laughed about how it must have pissed off our newly wedded sister. We went out for dinner, and we as siblings gifted Chloe money for a week away with her best friend, which somebody suggested in a comment on the initial post. I texted Dylan my congratulations. Despite everything, I do hope he and Ashley are happy together. While she might not love us, I don't doubt that Ashley loves him. Yes, she wants her spotlight in her moment, but I don't think she's marrying him just for that. Bringing the wedding forward, sure, that's a hugely malicious tactic to bring herself more attention. Marrying him for the sake of having a wedding? She isn't that type of narcissist. As of right now, I plan on staying no contact with my mom unless she makes some big changes. This is a sentiment shared not only by the majority of my siblings but is also encouraged by our dad and grandma. She's tried reaching out to me and my partner, mostly berating us for not attending the wedding and accusing us of planning to keep her grandchild away from her. At the moment, our summer looks busy. We're planning on filling it with as many family outings as possible before Chloe leaves for college. We've also got Ethan's 29th birthday to plan. Our dad's even joining in. This might cause a bigger rift between him and Mom, but for now at least, it looks like we're his priority. Olivia's threat really did something to him. Thanks to everyone who left comments on the original post. I know they really cheered Chloe up when she was worrying about whether or not she was doing the right thing by choosing herself. Part of me wishes we could have taken this stand earlier, but it took us a while to find our voices. Looking into the future, I do see 2 empty spaces at my own wedding, but I also see 5 siblings cheering me on. I'm happy with that. Second update, 5 months later. It's been about 5 months since I last posted, and I've had some requests for an update, so I figured I'd sit down and write one up. Bear in mind, a lot can happen in 5 months, and that's definitely true for this. Let me start off with July. Ashley and Dylan went on their honeymoon, and their absence sent our mom into a frenzy. She wasn't used to having no one around. Someone was always visiting, mostly Ashley, but the rest of us would visit out of obligation and to see Chloe and Zoe. With Ashley on her honeymoon and the rest of us no contact, Mom had no visitors, and she really didn't like that. Literally the day after Ashley left, we started getting bombarded with phone calls. She tried convincing Chloe first, which Olivia thought was a strategic move because Chloe is the more timid of all of us and thus more likely to be persuaded. When Chloe turned her down, she turned her sights on the rest of us. We all got identical phone calls with her trying to persuade us to visit her, to understand her, to see things from Ashley's perspective. She even brought up the circumstances of Ashley's premature birth and how it was a miracle that she was even here. Ethan told her to do better with Zoe. Olivia blocked her number. When the phone calls didn't work, she started turning up at our homes. She continued spewing much of the same stuff she had over the phone and before the wedding. She didn't understand what she'd done so wrong, why we were treating her like this. She called me ungrateful and disrespectful. She accused us of harboring unnecessary jealousy towards Ashley and said that she loved us all equally. I didn't respond to these comments. I was just trying to prevent her from going inside and saying the same things to Chloe, who was with my partner and son in the living room. Her comments didn't deserve a response. And when she was done, I asked her to leave as calmly as I could. But truthfully, I felt a little like crying. But who wouldn't feel crappy with their mom yelling in their face like that? Trying to downplay years of pain and calling it unnecessary jealousy. My siblings and I have been let down time and time again by her and our dad ever since Ashley was born. They missed out on so many things over the years, both big and small. But we had one thing that they never missed. And we were happy with just that one thing, and that was our high school graduations. But they couldn't give that to Chloe. All we had were our high school graduations. They missed Ethan's college graduation because Ashley broke her leg. It was an accident, I get that, but they never made it up to him. They never celebrated this huge achievement afterward, and he just had to grin and bear it. Our mom didn't turn up to my partner's baby shower after making such a huge fuss about it, because Ashley didn't want to go and wanted them to get their nails done together instead. But our jealousy is unnecessary. Sorry. I don't know how I managed to stay calm when she was yelling at me, but I did. Asking her to leave made her switch tactics though, and she started calling out for my son, trying to coax him to go to her and telling me that she had a right to see her grandson. My partner stepped in then because she was seething and took my place at the door. Mom yelled some more, but she left when my partner threatened to call the cops. Mom repeated this song and dance with my older siblings, but similarly got nowhere with them. Then came the Facebook posts, indirect rants about ungrateful people and how shocking it is that some kids could turn against their parents so easily. Ashley somehow got involved while on her honeymoon and called Olivia to scold her for being mean to our mom. But as I've said before, Olivia is angry, and she's had enough. Whatever she said to Ashley prevented her from calling the rest of us. There was then a Facebook post about how much it hurt to be kept from a grandchild. Now there were no names mentioned, but there is only one grandchild, and that is my son. My mom's sister called me. There was yelling. I blocked the number. I know Dad was trying to convince our mom to just leave us alone. He kept apologizing because she just wasn't listening to him. Ashley came home after 2 weeks. She tried reaching out to Olivia again asking for us all to talk because, and this is a quote from Olivia, "Clearly we all have some issues to work out. We did not turn up." Ashley was very angry at that because she's not used to us turning up for her. July wasn't all bad, though. While our mom was on a rampage, our dad was still trying to do better by us, and he's improved a lot. In July, he and I went out for a meal together, just the two of us, and grabbed a drink, and he apologized. It wasn't a generic apology that he could have repeated to all of us about how he's sorry that he hurt us and neglected us, but he brought up specific instances that he wanted to apologize for. He thought back on all those years and picked out moments that he wanted to apologize to me for. I know he did the same for the others, but having him apologize for things like canceling a fishing trip because Ashley needed him was something I wasn't expecting. And I never really cared for fishing, but I wanted to go on that trip because I always saw it on TV. I'd always see a dad and son fishing together, and I wanted to have that. I wanted Dad to prove that I was a priority to him somewhere deep down. It didn't happen, and I never asked again. But we went fishing in July. What started as a trip between the two of us soon grew into a family day out when my siblings expressed an interest in going fishing, too. My brothers first, then Chloe, and even Olivia, who hates the smell of fish. Dad brought Zoe, and I brought my son, and it was great. It was one of the best days of my life. I suck at fishing, but I'm pretty great at collecting seashells. It was brilliant. Our parents did end up arguing when Dad went home. I wasn't there, so I don't know every little detail. But from what Dad told me, the argument was mostly because Mom didn't understand why we were still in contact with him and not her. She found it insulting that we were repairing our relationship with him. She was angry that Dad wasn't pushing us to forgive her or why he wasn't stopping us from acting out. She was angry that he didn't extend an invitation to her and Ashley for the fishing trip, and she was even angrier when he explained that their presence would make us uncomfortable. Ethan turned 29 at the end of July. We booked an escape room for the 5 of us siblings. Then we met our dad and partners for dinner that evening. Ethan introduced us to his new partner for the first time. All of our attention was on Ethan. The day was completely about him, which was a first for our family. Then there was a party thrown for him by his friends, which I came out of with a massive hangover. Mom started giving us the silent treatment in the middle of August. Dad moved out in September. While we were getting the silent treatment, Dad was bearing the brunt of her anger, and it really took it out of him. He was trying to do better by us, and she was trying to villainize us, and he ultimately told her that if she didn't take accountability for her actions soon, then he'd be contacting a lawyer. Mom didn't take him seriously. He's been staying in Olivia's guest room since. Mom doubled down and said that he was blind for not seeing how we were manipulating him. Unlike the rest of us, Dad obviously still has regular contact with Ashley. And according to him, she's even told Mom to reconsider. Unsurprisingly, Ashley's involvement is what got Mom to relent. I'm not sure if she's thinking about how she's treated us or if she's silently stewing. I know she asked Dad if he's going to move back home, but he said that it was better for them to have space right now. Personally, I'm struggling to see an outcome where our mom sincerely admits that she was in the wrong. I think she'll say it just to get Dad back home and the rest of us talking to her again. I don't think she'll ever hold us to the same level as Ashley. In brighter news, there's officially less than a year left until my own wedding. Currently, there is no place for my mom or Ashley. My partner, Megan, and I are having our fathers wear ties that match me and my groomsmen. Something I originally didn't plan to do, but I'm happy with the change. Chloe settled in at college. She's made some new friends with kids in her classes, and she's enjoying it. She's happy. Even though we have an active group chat, she FaceTimes me every few days just to talk. Most of what she says I've already read in the group chat, but I'm always willing to listen to her stories again. Chloe never used to talk this much. She looks a lot happier now than she did 5 months ago. I think that's everything. I'm sorry for the novel, but like I said, a lot can happen in 5 months. Third update, 7 months later. So, it's been about 7 months since my last update, and I thought one was well overdue. I actually intended to sit down and write one out a few months ago, but life got in the way. A lot has happened. Most of it good, some of it not. I'm sure you can guess what or who the reason for the not-so-good moments was. Mom was silent through Olivia's birthday in October, but made a huge song and dance for Ashley's in November. None of us make it a habit to check her social media accounts, and honestly, we'd have blocked her if it weren't for Zoe, but Caleb sent a screenshot in the group chat about a post she'd made. The post essentially painted Ashley as the perfect child, her precious angel, and said how she'd always be proud of her. She didn't even mention Olivia on her page at all during her birthday, but I can't say I'm surprised. Thanksgiving was different but fun. We all drove out to our paternal grandparents' place a few hours away to spend it with them. Technically, it was supposed to be an in-law year since Megan and I tend to switch who we spend it with so that neither one of our families feels left out. But she suggested we switch it up this year so I could be with my siblings on the first big holiday since the fallout. My in-laws are great people and have been really supportive throughout all of this, and I'm really grateful for them too. Mom didn't reach out to us on the day, but I could tell she was fuming. It didn't help that she was being asked questions after Olivia posted a Thanksgiving Day photo that didn't include her or Ashley. In December, she started a group chat with all of us and Dad. essentially telling us it was time to stop this petty drama and focus on family. But none of us are stupid. We all know she wanted to show off her picture-perfect family over Christmas. And how could she do that when all but 2 of her children can't stand to be near her? Ashley was in the group but didn't speak up, which was odd for her, but none of us really thought much of it at the time. Dad said he'd swing by to see Zoe, but he had no interest in spending Christmas with her until she was ready to admit to the pain they'd caused us. A week later, my birthday also went ignored by her, but that was fine. It only proved that she had no intention of admitting she was the bad guy. She got more desperate as Christmas drew closer. The messages and phone calls started up again, but I could ignore those for the most part. What I couldn't ignore was coming home from work to find her on my doorstep. She told me she'd been waiting for ages, like I was expecting her visit and had done it intentionally, which honestly I probably would have given the state of our relationship. I'm just grateful my family wasn't home. Megan was on her way back from work herself, and our son was with her parents. I didn't want to invite her inside, but honestly, given how desperate she looked, I also didn't want to deal with her where my neighbors could see. This woman told me that Christmas was about family and forgiveness. She told me I was taking it too far by keeping her grandson away from her and how confused he must be without her. She said it like I was using my son to punish her. I told her it was better this way because we all knew what would happen if Ashley had a child someday. My son would be pushed to the side like the rest of us were, and I didn't want that for him. She said I was being ridiculous and once again used that line, "I love you all equally." I asked her to leave because nothing was changing my stance, and I wasn't going to be spending Christmas with her. She got angry. She started yelling, and while I want to say I kept my composure, I didn't. I started yelling too. The more I yelled, the more worked up I got to the point that I started shedding tears. Reddit, this was years of hurt rushing to the surface. I don't think I will ever understand how she can claim to love us all equally but tell her crying son to stop being so dramatic. She left only when Megan came back and saw the state I was in. Megan's little but fierce and would do anything for me and my son. And I swear my mom left terrified of her that day. The social media posts picked up again. She played victim, shared posts about children not respecting the sacrifices mothers make for them and stuff like that. She posted how we didn't appreciate all that she'd done for us, but we all ignored it. We did our own Christmas. Megan, our son, and I visited the in-laws on Christmas morning, watched our son and nieces open their presents there, and then went over to Olivia's house. She offered to host us all this year. Dad took his place in the kitchen, joined by his assistant chefs Ethan and Olivia's husband. We didn't see our mom or Ashley until January. Zoe turned 5, so there was a party, and we weren't about to punish our sister for the actions of the demon that birthed us, so we went. There were some questions, but people didn't push when it was obvious that none of us wanted to get into it. Mom acted like everything was fine, but Ashley stayed away from us. At the end of the party, as we were helping clean up, Mom said it was good that we were finally putting things behind us. Olivia told her the only thing we were putting behind us was her. That started her off again, but she quickly realized she was outnumbered and headed inside. That was when Ashley approached us with her husband. Honestly, I was expecting her to tell us to go easy on our mom or something, but instead, she apologized. She said she'd been doing a lot of thinking since all of this started, and she realized that she had treated us badly her whole life, and part of that was influenced by the way our parents treated her. She told us she didn't expect us to forgive her, but that she just wanted to tell us that she was sorry. We left a little while later. There was silence at the end of January and in February for Caleb and Chloe's birthdays, but we were expecting that. Our days never did matter to her, after all. I got married in April without my mom present. It was hands down one of the best days of my life, second only to the birth of my son. Megan and I were surrounded by the people we cared about most and who cared about us in return. I had both of my brothers as my best men, and Chloe and Olivia were bridesmaids, too. It was better than anything I could have imagined. Honestly, I'm still blown away by the fact I now get to call Megan my wife. It's been amazing, but I'm sure you're all wondering how my mother handled this. And I can tell you plainly that she did not handle it well. Truthfully, when we sent out invitations, part of me hoped that the news just wouldn't get back to her. I hoped that it would go smoothly enough that I wouldn't actually have to talk to her about this decision. But of course, that'd be too easy. She showed up a few days later, banging on my door, demanding I talk to her. I went out. I didn't let her in despite knowing that the neighbors could see us, and that was solely because I didn't want her inside my home where my son was. I didn't want her scaring him like she was undoubtedly doing. She demanded to know what I was playing at, how I could be so cruel, how I could exclude her from such a special day. I told her plainly that my wedding was a day for me to celebrate with my close loved ones, and she wasn't someone I considered close or a loved one anymore. She'd made her bed. She had to lie in it. Part of me worried that she'd turn up at my wedding. She came by the house a few more times, but stopped when I threatened to call the cops. I didn't do it sooner because I guess I'm soft at heart and didn't want to see my mom in any trouble. But every time she showed up to spew some nonsense about me being a terrible son for doing this to her, it drained me. There were social media posts, of course. I had relatives reaching out to tell me I should invite her, asking what kind of son I am, etc. But they stopped when I told them I'd take back their invites, too. No one mentioned her at the wedding, and she didn't try showing up. She did, however, try to prevent Zoe from being a flower girl like I promised. But Dad quickly nipped that in the bud, which takes me to the next point. My parents are officially over. Dad sent her divorce papers sometime in February, and I don't think he's looking back at all. This is something that also shocks me because this time last year, he was much the same as she was. He was someone who cared more about Ashley than any of us, someone who brushed off our achievements if they somehow interfered with hers. And now he's an advocate for us. Every time Mom posted something on social media belittling us, he responded with a post uplifting us. I never imagined having such a good relationship with my dad. But here we are. We helped him move into his own place back in March. He's a new man, honestly. He's worked out a 50-50 custody agreement for Zoe because as much as he'd be happy to have full custody, he wants to believe that she can change like he did. He has said, however, that if he catches even the slightest hint of Zoe being mistreated like we were, he'd be filing for it. In the case of my siblings, life has been going well for them, too. Caleb got a raise at work and has adopted a dog that my son is obsessed with to the point that I think we may need to get a dog ourselves. Haha. Ethan and his partner are going strong. He fits right into our family, and I couldn't be happier for Ethan. He's found someone who really cares about him, and I can tell he's in love. Maybe there will be wedding bells there soon. Zoe. Well, Zoe's 5, so there's not really much going on in her life. I think she recently made my dad join her tea party. Edit. Some things I quickly wanted to add. Zoe is obviously aware that things have changed. She's naturally confused about it all. Things changed so much in the space of a year, and I can't imagine what it was like for her living with our parents when Mom was angry all the time. We've let her know that we'll always be there for her, and that we're safe spaces if she needs to talk about her feelings, or if she has any questions to ask. We don't want this affecting her more than it already has. Ethan is the one who's made headway on that. He works in childcare and has experience in things like this. Dad is thinking about setting up therapy for her. But I'm sure you're all wondering about Chloe and Ashley. Chloe's great. She's honestly thriving. I think being away from our mom, Ashley, and the pressures at home has really helped her find herself as a person. She's made new friends, is excelling in class, and she's just an overall happier person, which is all I care about. She's happy. I'm happy. She's been invited to move in with my dad now that he has his own place and enough room for her and Zoe, but she hasn't decided on an answer yet. She's more than welcome to stay here if she wants, but I know that she also wants to be closer with our dad. I'll support her no matter what, and I've told her that she can try it with Dad if she wants, and she can come back if it's too weird for her. Ashley is another story. We are no longer no contact with her, but we are low contact. After her apology at Zoe's party, Caleb reached out to see if it was genuine. All of us were pretty stuck on what to do, to be honest. Ashley was never someone to bow her head and apologize, but how could we know if it was genuine and not a ploy to get us to forgive our mom or something? Ashley asked to speak with us in person when Caleb reached out to her, and we agreed because we were curious to see how it would go. We also agreed that if she tried anything, we would be leaving immediately and would block her again. The meeting happened in mid-January between Zoe and Caleb's birthdays. We met at her place. Ashley looked like a nervous wreck, like she hadn't slept all night. And honestly, it was really weird because she's normally so put together. Like, even when she was throwing tantrums, she looked better than this. We sat down, and she started off by apologizing to us again. She said that she was needlessly cruel and unfair to us, especially Chloe, and even apologized for trying to ruin her graduation. She said when we all backed out of her wedding, she was confused and hurt because none of us had said no to her before. She thought we were closer than that, but realized now that it was one-sided. She thought we were close, and we just wanted to be as far away from her as possible. We asked our questions, and she answered every one. Why did you think we were close? Because she'd been acting this way since childhood, partially encouraged by our parents' treatment of us versus her, and assumed that since none of us said anything about it, we were fine with it. Did you ever feel sorry? She didn't before this whole fiasco. It was normal for her to be the center of attention. Everything was always about her, and she was trying to unlearn that. Why now? Came down to her husband. Dylan tried talking to her a few times about her treatment of us, but she never saw an issue with it since, well, we never made it an issue before. He didn't like that response, but he loved her, and she was a lot kinder outside of our family unit. So, he hoped that if he kept talking to her about it, she'd eventually stop. They fought when she announced their engagement on Olivia's anniversary, and they fought again when she booked their party on Chloe's birthday. He couldn't understand how she could be so cruel to her family. And she told him that he didn't understand our family dynamic and that we were cool with it. The stuff with Chloe's graduation damn near ruined their relationship. And I don't know how she convinced him to stay with her because Dylan admitted he was very close to walking out the door. She said she was on our mom's side for a while because she really did think we were just acting out. We'd never been like this before, so why were we like this now? She didn't get why we were ignoring her, why we'd suddenly cut her off, and admittedly had a breakdown over it. Dylan told her we'd likely been carrying that hurt and bitterness with us for years. She said that she knew she was a brat, but didn't realize how bad she really was until Dylan and our dad laid it all out for her. That's why she told Mom to leave us be so that we could have peace from it all. And it turns out Dad wasn't the only one bearing the brunt of Mom's anger. She was constantly blasting Ashley's phone, turning up at her place, dragging our names through the mud. It got worse when Dad moved out, and suddenly Ashley was all she had in the world. Mom called us awful names that Ashley thankfully didn't repeat. Mom told Ashley that she was all she had now. Dylan vouched for how bad our mom was. Said he'd come home from work often to find Ashley staring at a ringing phone. She didn't want to answer, but knew if she didn't eventually, then Mom would turn up at her house. I know Ashley was awful to us ever since she was born, but it really hurt seeing her like this. I think she herself was a victim of our mom's behavior, albeit in a drastically different way. She said she wanted to reach out to us sooner, but knew we probably didn't want to speak to her. She just couldn't help herself when she saw us at Zoe's party and needed to apologize. We parted ways conflicted. On one hand, Ashley had always been selfish. She'd been manipulative and downright mean. She always found a way to overshadow us at every turn, at every achievement. Chloe's graduation was proof of that. On the other hand, she looked tired. She looked worn, and she looked guilty. And I didn't want to believe that was an act put on for the sake of getting us to forgive her and then our mother. None of us were sure how to proceed. But then Megan suggested that we invite her to the wedding, or rather we invite her to the reception after everyone's eaten. We had a few friends coming at that time, too, who couldn't attend the wedding itself due to inescapable engagements. That way, if Ashley did try to bring our mom, security would catch it, and we'd know for certain whether or not Ashley had turned a new leaf. Reddit. Ashley attended the reception. She didn't bring our mom, didn't even mention her. She and Dylan arrived, and Ashley cried as she congratulated me. She told Megan she looked beautiful and hugged my son. At some point, she took Chloe aside, and when they came back, they were both a little teary-eyed. Chloe later told me that Ashley wanted to apologize to her properly one-on-one, and didn't know if she'd get another opportunity to do so. Dylan thanked me for giving Ashley a chance. He told me that she really could be a warm, kind-hearted person. I told him I hope to meet that version of her someday. And I mean it. If Ashley is truly as warm and kind and wonderful as Dylan believes her to be, then I want nothing more than to meet that version of my sister. Now, you may be wondering, OP, you forgot to mention Olivia when talking about your siblings. That was on purpose. You see, it's a good thing Dad moved out of her spare room. She's going to need that space in a few months. And she's not the only one. I knew Olivia was pregnant because she sat both me and Megan down to tell us she was pregnant and worried about her bridesmaid dress, even offering to step down if it was a problem. We, of course, told her not to be ridiculous and that we'd cover the cost of any alterations needed. In the lead-up to the wedding, Megan told me that she planned on having Olivia make an announcement during the speeches. I foolishly assumed that Olivia was going to announce her pregnancy to our extended family. And while I was a little hesitant, I agreed since Megan wanted this. And well, at least she'd gotten permission, unlike someone would have. Reddit. Olivia made a speech about pregnancy and how she couldn't wait to be a mom, and how she was grateful to be sharing at least part of her pregnancy journey with Megan. Reddit. This was how I found out my wife was expecting our second child again. I wish I could say I maintained my composure, but I didn't. I cried. I was so overwhelmed with happiness that I couldn't help myself, and I'm sure my friends will forever make fun of me for it. It felt like all the crap we've been through this past year was worth it all for that moment. To have my family rally around me in an event that I'm sure would somehow have been made about Ashley and her wedding if my mom had been present. I haven't spoken much about how this past year has made me feel. Truthfully, I have felt like trash for most of it. I felt like curling up and disappearing. I felt rotten and useless simply because my mother told me I was. I felt sometimes like I couldn't show how I was feeling because Chloe was here, and I didn't want her to blame herself any more than she did. I'm in therapy now, and I'm not the only one, and I'm healing right now. I'm happy. I'm so unfathomably happy that I can barely understand it. I'm happier than I've ever been, and I know my siblings will say the same. While our mom will probably say that our family has fallen apart, that's not true. Hers has. The family that she made has fallen apart, but ours has grown stronger. It has grown so unbelievably strong. We were a united front before, but it's like now we've upgraded our defenses. We're coming out of this with stronger relationships with each other, a real relationship with our dad, and 2 new family members on the way. This is what our mom is missing out on, and it's all her own fault. Maybe I'll update you again in the future. I'm not sure if our mom knows yet about Olivia and Megan's pregnancies, but the announcement is out there. We do have her blocked on social media, though, so maybe no one's told her the good news. Ashley hasn't at least, so if anything happens on that front, I'll let you know. But for now, I'm happy with where my life is. Thank you all for your endless support. You have no idea how heavy these last 2 years have been, how helpful your words really were to us. 4th update, 9 months later. So, it's been nearly a year, and as expected, a lot has happened. I was thinking about leaving this another 2 months to hit the 1-year mark, but I don't trust myself not to forget. Mom found out about Olivia and Megan's pregnancies shortly after my last update, which went about as well as you could expect. Olivia and I became the targets of her rage, as did our partners. We were the worst people in existence. She turned up on my doorstep and screamed through our Ring camera that she is ashamed of how I turned out. I'm waiting for the day her words don't hurt me so much. But she is my mom, and I think there'll always be a part of me and my siblings that will want her to love us. Honestly, I think she made 17 Facebook posts a minute, each one painting us as villains for denying her her rights as a grandmother. She had our aunts call us and tell us we were being ungrateful. One of them managed to catch Megan as she was coming home from work one day and didn't like it when Megan told her where to stick it. I have never cut contact with someone so fast. Mom had to be escorted off Olivia's property by police. At one point, too, we wanted to write it out, but when we spoke about it as a group, Olivia and I decided it was for the best that we pursued restraining orders against her. I couldn't risk the safety of my family anymore. Thankfully, they were granted, and she has thankfully stuck by it. The 4 of us haven't seen or heard from her since, but the others weren't so lucky. In July, Ashley actually cut Mom off. She blamed everyone but Ashley for it. It was Olivia's fault, and then it was mine, and then it was Chloe's. It was Dad's and Caleb's and Ethan's. Every one of us was an enemy. Every one of us but Ashley. I hate that I wasn't surprised. I hate that I was used to the blame. I talk a lot about how happy we are now, but before happy we were sad and angry and hurt. I felt like dying, and Ethan nearly did. Parents aren't supposed to make you feel that way. I hope to God my kids never feel like this because of me. I both hate my father and love him dearly. He's trying. He's better, but he was once just like our mom. Dad applied for full custody of Zoe, too. I think we've all realized that mom isn't going to change, and the best thing to do for Zoe is to prevent her from turning out like the rest of us. She is so young, and I cannot imagine her living through the things that we did, through possibly worse, when we have already escaped. Currently, the fight is still ongoing. Mom doesn't want to give Zoe up, but because of her very public issues with the rest of us and the restraining orders, Mom only gets to have her on the weekends. Dad still isn't satisfied. Zoe started coming home from her weekends with Mom saying she doesn't want to go back. So, Dad's pushing harder to cut Mom from the equation completely. Ashley has integrated further into our circle. This Ashley is a lot nicer than the one I grew up with. I tell her a story, and she doesn't roll her eyes at me. Doesn't tell me that nobody cares what I have to say. She isn't perfect by a long shot, but she's trying. We can tell her she's done something wrong, and she'll apologize. She is in therapy. We're also on the list for family therapy with the 6 of us and Dad. We're hoping it'll help us move on more. We're hoping it'll let us heal. Mom may be a lost cause, but Dad and Ashley aren't. And honestly, that's more than I ever could have even hoped for 2 years ago. Chloe absolutely crushed her first year of college, and she's crushing her second, too. She took Dad's offer to move in with him, though she knows that she's always got a place with me, too. She's a lot better at expressing herself now, so she doesn't let Dad get away with anything. Chloe and Ashley actually talk now. They spent over a decade under one roof, but they never really talked. Ashley thought Chloe was beneath her, and Chloe was too afraid to anger Ashley. Now they talk and bicker like sisters, like they should have been doing all along. Ashley arranged for the 2 of them and Olivia to have a girls' day to celebrate Chloe's successful first year in college. This is the sister we deserved, and we are the siblings Ashley deserved in return. We don't shrink beneath her anymore. We're equals for once in our lives. Ashley is also flourishing in her new role as an aunt to all 3 members of the next generation. That's right, my son is officially no longer the only grandchild. Olivia gave birth to her daughter in September. She's got lungs like no one else and the strength of an elephant, but she's cute as hell. Megan gave birth to our second son in November. He's quieter than our eldest was, and for a while he barely slept. Both Olivia and Megan are doing great, though. They're doing amazing, but I knew they would. Right now I am happy and I am content. And my mom cannot touch this. This isn't for her to corrupt. She will never know these beautiful, wonderful children, and she will never know the versions of us that follow. I hope this will be the last update. I hope this peace will persist. Thank you all for your endless support. You have no idea how heavy these last 2 years have been, how helpful your words really were to us.